We must warn you that some of the video in the following presentation could be considered graphic and sensitive, but we present it in the interest of the wider objective of fostering a wider level of understanding and acceptance, both of the lives of children with cerebral palsy and of the sacrifices made by their parents, mostly the mothers, in caring for such children. The event was organized by the Cerebral Palsy Society in Trinidad and Tobago and funded by the Ministry of the People and Social Development in its continuing drive on myriad fronts at tackling the huge challenge presented by persons with disabilities in Trinidad and Tobago. What you are about to see was from one session from the day's activities, in which professionals helped parents and caregivers in ways of providing physical therapy to children with cerebral palsy. Philip Metiver is a parent of a child with cerebral palsy and president of the association.
The program today is sponsored by the Ministry of Social Development. The Minister of Social Development has been very, very helpful to us. He is funding this whole project. What we need is more involvement with the therapists in this country. We need them to partner with us because we are not in this business to, knock anybody. What we need is we need help for our kids. That is what it's all about. What we want the public and people at large to do is understand the kids. I mean, it's very little known. It's not a disease. It's not hereditary. It's very little known in this country. So we are trying to get the public more aware of the kids with this situation. These kids, they need specialized help. So material help is like standards, walkers, orthotics, and things like that. That is the kind of help we need. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. That's what we need. These things to happen with our kids.
Special education.
Special education. Right now, the government is in the process of building a center in Carsonfield where they are going to be dealing with all the disabilities, and we are going to have a center there for kids with CP. All those families that needs help, have kids with CP and needs help, please, they can join with us. Contact us at 716 Cerebal Palsy Society of Trinidad and Tobago, 716-0116 or 461-5113.
We hear next from Dr. Martin Carello.
Okay, we're coming from Miami, and this is our, we have been coming to Trinidad for the last 11 years, trying to help the society, the Cerebral Palsy Society of Trinidad and Tobago, with all the needs that they have, with some of the needs that they have with their children and their families. And we are a very family trained oriented approach. We want to train the families to deal with these children in terms of positioning, equipment, exercises, feeding, sleeping, bathing, all the chores that the families have at home with these children. And of course, intensive physical therapy that is needed. Today, this weekend, we're going to build some standards, some adaptations for wheelchairs, and guide, some of the parents with the orthotics need that these children have. We welcome other professionals to come this weekend and join us. to exchange information and to learn from each other, especially physical therapies that these children, or many of these children are not receiving intensive treatment. And we think that the only way to prevent deformities, contractures, and to have them, all their potentials develop is if they have a more intensive and more specialized treatment. So we welcome, especially the young therapists that would like to get trained in neurodevelopmental treatment to please join us and come and contact us. We have plenty of information and plenty of interest in helping and in assisting these children. If we can all learn more, at the end the children and their families are going to benefit from. First of all, the society at large should change their conception about handicapped people or people with disabilities. We should all be more sensible about their needs, and that we should integrate them more to all the activities that they have in the community. Many of these patients are ostracized and isolated, and we should have many mechanism of bringing them, into the parks, into the entertainment, into the social life, by accepting them and by helping them and making accessible for the disabled people or people with disabilities, the accessibility to all the social activities. If you have a ramp that is wheelchair accessible, then maybe they can go to the movies, or they can go to a museum, or they can visit the park, But if you have stairs everywhere and people with wheelchair cannot, access easily, then obviously they are not going to be encouraged to participate. Schools should also be open to children with disability, because many of the children have intellectual abilities, and that they should be also educated, and maybe they have problems with communication, and that's the reason why they can perform well. But that is a problem for the school, not a problem for the family or for the patient. And we should try to solve those problems for them. Again, I'm a humble call to all the professionals that would like to, exchange information with us and try to join us, trying to help these families. I'm sure there are a few thousand families in Trinidad and Tobago that have children with cerebral palsy and other developmental disabilities, and we need to train the new physical therapists that are going to be in charge of the new rehab center that they are opening, and trying to lead, the treatment to the new stages. Internationally, there is tremendous improvements in care and treatment for these patients, and I think that Trinidad should really reach for that and try to benefit, from those improvements and new research that is coming out, from many, many centers in the world.
Shamala Miraj is a young lady living as normal a life as possible. She is the Honorary Public Relations Officer of the Society, and here's part of her story.
This morning I just would like to thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it. I would like to say that so we have many disabilities in our people with disability, both seen and unseen, in our country. And I think in this day, in this modern era, one should collaborate with the Ministry of Health to ensure that negligence is no more. Because most of us, as cerebral palsy, happen as a result of negligence. And if we, as a society, if you come together with us and say, okay, these are the ground rules to work with through the Ministry of Health, you would see children without any disability being born. If it have to happen, it won't happen as a result of negligence. Also, I would like to say that if society if society enables us our independence through aid, through facilities, we would be able, you wouldn't see us as a disabled. You would see us just as a different person in society, being unique. Right now, for example, I am working at the National Agricultural Marketing Development Corporation. Southern Wholesale Market, and to show a prime example, I'm there and no one sees me as a disabled. They would give me responsibilities and duties just as anyone else. They won't question my ability or anything. So, and that motivates me to be who I am, to be further, and it also motivates me and push me forward to do things that people who would see me and say, can you do this? Can you do this? Do that? It wouldn't affect my thinking. I am able to think just like anyone else, and I'm proven, and I want to prove that we as a disabled can be included in society from top to bottom. And after this stage, and my last stage of master's, I'm going straight on to PhD, and I want to prove that we can be, as Trinidad and Tobago, as a third world, as they would classify, can be an example, can be an innovator for persons with disability. Thank you very much.
Here, once again, is Dr. Corello.
At the beginning of my trips to Trinidad, I remember very clearly that some people told me that I should not get involved with the family, that I should only be here coming to Trinidad to train professionals, that the parents would not understand difficult terminology, that they would understand what is the definition of spasticity, or what was the problem with motor control. And then my reaction was, to try to explain to them that the parents are the ones that have the problem 24 hours. And if the parents don't know how to manage the child in terms of positioning, feeding, bathing, sleeping position, how to carry the child, what equipment to use, what needs for adaptive equipment, orthotic, wheelchair, crutches, walker, with a therapist that we see the child only once a week or twice a week or once a month, so we cannot know exactly what is the best for the child. And that actually the parents are the ones that need to be trained, because that is in direct impact with the improvement of the child. So I think it's important that, and we're going to develop that idea, I hope, at the end of the day tomorrow, and we're going to try to explain some of the main principles of what training families and the importance of getting the families trained for better management. So again, I want you to congratulate all of you for the improvements that we have been making in Trinidad, and you have been making in Trinidad, and I promise you that we're going to continue getting better services, and we're going to continue trying to achieve with the new center that have been promised. We're going to try to achieve the best equipment for these children and the best services with the best professionals and the most humane professional, which is not the same necessarily. We not only need the best technical care, but we need the most humane care for these children. Thank you again for inviting me to this project.
must say that the remarks of Shamla Maharaj, or Rising Star, was so powerful that it reminded me of the words of Rabindranath Tagore, where he said that where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come from the depths of truth, where tireless striving reaches its arm towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way in the dreary desert of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into that ever-widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. I say these words, and I say that those who pick up guns to shoot and kill with their hands that are steady and take the lives of fathers and mothers, look at this star. Look at this star in our country, this rising star, with whatever effort that she can make, is creating a new pathway for all of the cerebral palsy children of Trinidad and Tobago.
I would like to invite one of our very special children, Jada Harbajan. She is a student of the KPA Primary School, a regular preschool, and I want you all to give her a round of applause. Last term, Jada came out first in her class and shocked the entire school, including the principal. So she's here to say a poem for us. Jada?
Children are gifted from God. God sent me 3 packages that needed special care. Take care of these tiny gifts, for they are very rare. Watch over them with all your love, and let them feel your touch. Take care of their every need, for you are needed very much. These gifts will crop so very fast, as you soon will see. Love them with all your heart, and let them be what they will be. When these gifts fully grow, look up at heaven. No, they exist because of God and all His precious love.
Yes, he's my son. He's Jeremy Fuentes, 11 years old, and my daughter here is Annalisa Fuentes, 14 years old. My son born with cerebral palsy, Annalisa is okay. She's healthy and well. It starts from birth, right? Right after birth, sometimes we don't know exactly what is wrong with our children, especially when we see other people's children playing, moving, rolling over, and your child remains straight, right? Straight, cannot move, cannot sit up, cannot do anything or respond, right? It is not an easy task bringing up a cerebral palsy child. It is very hard. Sometimes parents, the family of the child, like grandparents, and they step aside, uncles, aunts, neighbors, friends, they discriminate us. You know, like they come like we have a disease. So they don't come around or help us or assist us in any way. And it is hard being a single parent as well. Sometimes the father gets frustrated. Sometimes they cannot cope with what you have to live with for the rest of your life. So they separate, you know. It is a very, very tough task. It is very loving to take care of a child with CP. It teaches a lot, you know. It is very hard. But it happened in me, and I consider it to be a blessing from God. My both children, normal and abnormal. It is a blessing from God. You have to keep a steady head and a open heart, you know, to work with this and work with your problem. And if you don't, you go crazy, you go mad, you know. So you have to be loving with it, and that is the most important thing. You must have love. A day's task is very hard, right? Especially when you get up on mornings and you're ready to do breakfast, he start catching seizure. Then you have to wait for about an hour for him to come out of it, right? And then he will catch himself. He will start with behavioral problem. Then you have to calm him down, feed him, bathe him, change him, and just spend the day with him. I don't have a life. This is my life.
Before this society began constructive work, some people used to hide their children because they didn't want to deal with the issues and they felt that there was no hope. And today, when I do walkabouts in the constituencies throughout Trinidad and Tobago, people bring out their children for me to see the beauty that God has brought into the world and say, can you help me so that I can take care of this beautiful child of mine? That is the revolution that was started by this society. So give them a round of applause. All the miseries that we share and the problems that we want to correct will not be corrected by laws, but it will be corrected by changing the way we do things, the nature of our actions, and the kinds of simple changes that we make in our own life. That is what will create a change for the future. And therefore, when I go to Tobago and we are able to tell a mother comes crying, have no income, she has this child, the father left her because of the child, and that mother left her job because she has to see about this child 24/7. And she says, what can you do? And I feel so happy. Because at the policy level, and I explain this, not everything is about action. A lot of it is about creating the policy environment, the thinking environment, the caring environment. And when we sat down with the society and we said, look, what can we do? And we said, unemployment, you're unemployed, you need relief, let's go to the URP. Today I have a part of the URP under me. In those days I didn't. I approached Minister McLeod and Mr. Thomas George, and I said, here are unemployed people who need relief. And he said, but where they walking? They're walking on the road, they're sweeping, they're billing drain. I said, no, they're taking care of a child. And that taking care of a child is a full-time job and more. And therefore, I say pay them $84.50 a day. And when we can tell the mother in Tobago, hold still, tomorrow will be a new day, I feel as if we have lifted ourselves beyond a mountain. There are many mountains to cross. We will cross them together. And I'll tell you what, if we're getting difficulty to cross the mountain, we will build a walkway around it. If we're getting difficulty to cross around it, we will dig a dam below it, but we will cross every mountain together. Thank you and God bless you.
I must say thanks for all the support and the financial help that they helped me. I am very happy with what they are doing for our children, not only for my child, but for children all over Trinidad.